Hi, everyone. We're here for another episode of the Immigration Power Hour, and we're here with Ghassan Shamieh. So I just learned how to pronounce your name, which is a good thing, but that's one thing in immigration. You got to deal with a lot of different cultures. Ghassan is an immigration lawyer himself, gone tech whiz. You own a platform that I think is really cool because we build a lot of procedures that your platform does, and it's free built. But essentially, people can scan mail and it could do whatever you need it to do immigration wise. So you scan whatever receipt notice and it uploads into a platform, which I think is really cool. It's a very unique tool. But Ghassan, for people meeting you for the first time, who are you and what's Clerq Legal?
Hi, everybody. I'm Ghassan Shamieh. As Ian said, I'm an immigration attorney. Been practicing for almost 10 years out in San Francisco. And I was partners with my uncle who'd actually been doing this for 40 years, a real old school pen and paper kind of guy. And he recently retired. But some point throughout my journey with him, I took over the daily operations of the firm. And I was surprised that some of the bottlenecks in the firm were things that had nothing to do with the actual legal work, right? And so that's where Clerq Legal was born. And so Clerq Legal is basically a platform that allows immigration attorneys to automate their mail processing. And I think when it's not a sexy term, right? It's not like AI form filling and research and cases and things like that. It has nothing to do with that. So it's not too sexy, but it is a pain point that nearly every immigration lawyer that I've spoken to has, and now Clerq has solved that.
Yeah, that's a cool platform. We built a lot of these, but also recently we were building one and we were having issues getting the receipt numbers pulled correctly from scans. Your platform does that perfectly. And that's a reasonable mistake. USCIS is very kind of small passport style print in a lot of places. But yeah, that's a good point. You're already practicing law before this. You're still currently practicing law, immigration.
Exactly.
So you were just drowning in mail at your farm. And so take me back to that moment. What was it that happened that made you think, hey, I need to build this?
Yeah, as I was trying to find ways to make things more efficient, my uncle, again, pen and paper, really old school, looking at how technology could make things faster. So I was seeing how one day's worth of mail could take the staff 2 to 3 days to do. Upload it, calendar it, let the clients know, save it in the files. And I realized, I thought that there must be something out there that kind of automates it, right? There's got to be something out there that just says, here you go, take it and go. But to my surprise, nobody was doing that. I even asked DocketWise. I use DocketWise, and I said, hey, DocketWise, do you have this kind of feature? They said, good idea, but no. Okay, if you can't find it out there, then I guess you build it. And so I teamed up with some folks, and we built what is now Clerq, but it was never supposed to be a company. It was just supposed to be something that worked for my office that I needed. But the moment that I realized that, again, virtually every immigration lawyer has this problem, is the moment I realized that this is something bigger than just a solution for my office. This is a solution for everybody. And so why not share the love? And so when I realized that mail, one day's worth of mail was taking 2 to 3 days worth of man hours and 2 to 3 people, I was like, there's got to be a solution to this. So that's kind of where the idea was born.
Oh yeah, and it's a good platform. It's a good idea because a lot of firms we work with, one generally someone that scans mail and a role that has a lot of high turnover. It's kind of thing, or it's someone that advances through the company, even if the role might have turnover, even if the person doesn't leave the business. Obviously, no one's goals are to scan mail for their entire career, so that's a good point. But was there a point when you kind of almost gave up putting this together? I imagine because your tool does a lot for people that don't know. You can scan any type of immigration notice and it uploads it where it needs to go. It calendars things. It does that. But the point when you got frustrated and were like, hey, maybe I should stop doing this.
Yeah, I think just to give a little more context as to what it does, basically the process is that you take one giant scan of your day's mail and you drag and drop it, and Clerq takes care of everything for you. Puts it into your client management system, DocketWise, your My Case. It also can put it into Google Drive or SharePoint or OneDrive. If it's a hearing notice or an interview notice, it'll calendar it on your calendar. If it's an RFE or a scheduling order, it'll put it on your calendar with deadlines. It'll draft emails to clients in 100 different languages and send them an automatic email copy of whatever notice you received. It integrates with EOIR and USCIS. So any email you get from EOIR that has a PDF attached to it is automatically sent to Clerq and processed the same way. So now attorneys who do removal defense, I know right now is a very delicate time for us. I do removal defense because you miss one deadline, you miss one scheduling order, then your client could pay the price of that. And so what Clerq does is it helps make sure that we take the human error, the human element out of making sure that this file was saved here, was uploaded here, was calendared here. We do all of that for you. Okay. We do all of that for you to make sure that nothing else is missed. Okay. So that's what we do. Now, was there a point where I almost gave up? Yeah, multiple times, almost every day. I think the hardest part is making sure, because this is a high stakes scenario, right? This is a high stakes company. You're not just dealing with people's money, you're dealing with people's lives. Because if you don't get something calendared correctly, you don't get a deadline calendar correctly, the software isn't capable of doing it the right way, then ultimately it's the immigrant who pays the price of that, right? And potentially the attorney. And so whenever we have difficulties, I always think back to that. But then I think back to why we created this in the first place. And that's to solve this exact problem. And there's nobody out there doing it. All these immigration lawyers have the same exact problem. And we need to push through it and figure out how to make it work, because it is possible and we are doing it. It just takes a lot of work, a lot of testing, a lot of trials, and a lot of new development, because nothing like this exists.
Yeah, I think kind of groundbreaking. It's because how we've been doing this already is essentially we have people batch scan the mail. Someone generally outside the country will label it, upload everything, and put it back there. And that's kind of low cost. But even that person's salary is probably more than what your tool costs, and it could process it immediately. So that's
Exactly.
a good thing for sure. But let's say if I'm a law firm owner logging into Clerq for the first time, walk me through what that actually feels like.
Yeah. So this is really the the person who is handling your mail, and your office manager, your admin person, is really going to be excited about this, because you log into Clerq and immediately you see a dashboard. And as a firm owner, it's a really nice clean dashboard, because you get to see how many notices you're getting per month, which kind of tells you the ebbs and flows of the business, what notices you've done more of in this particular month and less of. So without running any complex reports on DocketWise or Clio or whatever system you use, you're able to get a bird's eye view of your firm, right? And where your energy is being spent, where your team's energy is being spent over the past 20, 30, 40 days.
Yeah.
And so from a reporting data perspective, it's really valuable to somebody who's running the firm or who owns the firm. But from a user perspective, the person who's admin, it's quite literally, Ian, simple as drag and drop and press a button. And then if you got it dialed in and the staff is trained up and knows how to use it, which we of course help with, it should take an hour to do an entire day's worth of mail, as opposed to all day. And I'm talking about an hour's too much, probably, right? You should be able to get through a day's worth of mail in half an hour. But that's what it's like. It's just you press upload documents, you drag and drop that one giant PDF and press another button, and then everything is done.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Yeah, that's good. Well, I was impressed with the tool, and I look at a lot of
It's
these software tools. Earl, when you were building this, what made immigration firms a natural fit for this? Obviously, they need to process mail. And is there a specific kind of notice type or a thing that this really shines in? Obviously, there's a lot of different types of government
yeah.
notices. But what do you
Yeah.
think is really out of everything it does, the really unique value it can add to a firm?
Yeah, I think immigration was a natural fit precisely because that's what I practice. And that's pretty much all I practice. And then immigration, unlike other areas of law, which are more digitally advanced, right? Technologically advanced, and more things are done online. Immigration is still stuck and is probably is very heavily paper based. So you're filing things paper, you're getting things back in paper. You still have immigration lawyers walking around with massive physical files into the courtroom because everything is paper based. And so the system makes sense for that type of platform. But to answer the second half of your question, what is the most advantageous feature of the system is we cover those digital elements too. I was telling you earlier about how we have the ability to capture those emails that attorneys get from the court. And those emails are from judges, and those are scheduling orders from judges, and they have very hard and real deadlines, right? And there are horror stories of immigration attorneys who've missed those deadlines because of an administrative error, because something slipped through the cracks, because they didn't file or forward this email to their legal assistant. An immigration attorney who practices removal defense is going to love this product because it makes sure that no notices is missed.
Yeah.
And therefore, they're protecting their own license as a result. Because if your client gets ordered removed as a result of you missing a deadline, then the only way that client is going to possibly get any relief is filing a bar complaint against you, right? And so immigration is so messed up and backwards in that sense, but that's what Clerq's main feature might, as somebody who practices removal defense, that's the biggest feature for me that I look forward to every day. I can go to sleep every night knowing that Clerq caught all of these documents from the court system.
Yeah. And that's a good thing you brought up. People's sanity relies on a lot of this stuff too. Most immigration lawyers or lawyers in general, I think, have no idea what else they would do if they weren't licensed and practicing. It's a calling for most people.
Exactly.
That's a big thing for sure. But is there a story of a firm using Clerq that stuck with you?
Yeah, definitely. There's a firm who uses Clerq right now, and before using Clerq, they had a team of 7 people. It's a pretty sizable firm, 300 employees. 7 people touching the mail. 7 people doing
wow.
the mail. Wild to me. Wild to me. And so when we got Clerq up and running for them, of course, initially they were hesitant, right? They thought about job security. They thought about how's this going to impact my position in the firm. But what it did was it freed up the time from them doing administrative things like the mail and allowed the firm owner, the managing partner, to add some more intense immigration focused tasks, such as applications and case preparation that they weren't doing before. And so it was a shift in mindset for that person from I'm hesitant to embrace Clerq because it takes away what I do, but they started to actually be trained into doing something like a legal assistant or a paralegal would. And so their ability to grow within the field, within the firm, grew as a result of adopting Clerq. And I think that's pretty powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, that is for sure. And also time audits are just crazy how much time some stuff takes. That's
It's
good.
wild.
Yeah.
One notice can take 15 minutes, right? By the time you scan it, by the time you calendar it, had the deadlines, email the client, call the client, all of the one notice could take 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah. And that's crazy. And to your point, very error prone. A lot of these little things in there, like a receipt numbers, like a long series of numbers and all this.
Exactly.
But it needs to get entered correctly. That's a little bit more reliability than some others. That's still something you want to make sure is accurate. But I think the most common question I get, or one of them that comes from clients we work with, is anything going to slip through the cracks? And I think that's a lot of these new tech platforms, yours included, are really helping with that. But I'd put up with the things, immigration cases are high stakes, so missed deadlines have real consequences. You're living with this, and you brought this up earlier for real people. But how do you think about accuracy, and what do you tell attorneys who are nervous about handling notice processing over to an AI?
I think that's such a good question because I get it in practically almost every demo we do, right? What's your accuracy rate? What's the error rate? What I tell people is, of course, as a lawyer, I'm never going to guarantee anything. I'm never going to promise anything. And what we tell people is we have had very little reports of inaccurate uploads, but we have purposely built our platform to have human oversight as needed, right? As on an as needed basis. So before uploading things to your case management system, right? A human has the ability to go through and make sure the system read it correctly. There are logs to be able to track what the system didn't do. So somebody can review the logs to make sure that things were done correctly. Again, I think this product is unique because I am an immigration attorney. I still am an immigration attorney, right? I'm still on the field playing the game, right? And so I want something that is going to protect me and make sure that it doesn't do anything that would put me or my clients in jeopardy. And so that's why everything we do is done with that in mind and that as the sole focus, that we are going to try to make this as accurate as humanly possible while still giving people the leeway and flexibility to have human oversight when and if needed.
Yeah, that's a good thing for sure. It's lawyers are definitely worst case scenario thinkers. That's probably focus on, not probably, I know that's what they focus on in evaluating tools. What type of
Exactly.
time and cost savings are firms telling you about? And has any of these results surprised you, even being the creator of the platform?
Yeah, I guess I don't think it surprised me because I know exactly what it can do and exactly what it can save. But I think the one that is most interesting to me is that solo practitioner, right? Where they just them. They don't have any admin, they don't have any assistants, they're doing the form filing, they're doing everything. Even if they get 5, 10 notices a week, which isn't that much, it would take them several hours to process the mail. And you're talking about the attorney doing this, right? And so the attorney's time should not be spent doing administrative stuff. And now it's enabled that attorney to start marketing more and soliciting more and doing more consultations and increasing their revenue, right? And so I think that's another benefit to having Clerq. Not only does it make you more efficient and less error prone and things like that, but it allows even the solos, even the big firms, to retool how they're doing things to focus on increasing that top line revenue.
Yeah. That's a good thing too. Obviously, you're pulled in a lot of directions when you own a business, especially in immigration law. It's very skills based. Your license is attached to it. It's not something you can really advocate, at least not until you build up a lot of systems and have been in business for a long time. And most people don't want to. Most lawyers want to practice law, at least that I've seen. It's usually 10, 15, 20 years is when they get to the point where they're like, just want to run the business. At first, they're usually really excited. But where do you see this
Exactly.
going? And for Clerq and for AI and immigration operation generally?
Yeah, I see this going in a great direction, and the feedback we've gotten has been tremendous. We have people who asked us to customize the way that they use the platform and add features that they've always wanted but never been able to do. And so we can create tasks on the case management system and assign them to the legal assistant automatically. And so now there's so much potential, especially in customizing the workflow of the firms. All these attorneys have a vision in their mind. This is how I would do things if I could. We help people execute that vision, right? It started off as mail processing, but it's evolving into a a place, an opportunity to customize workflows and develop unique methods for people to work within their own firm.
Yeah, and that's a good thing for sure. I know AI is a hot topic now. But I tell most of the lawyers we work with, pretty much everyone is AI is there to supplement what you're doing. It's not really there to replace
Exactly.
what you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Well, what's one thing you want firm owners watching this to walk away thinking about?
Yeah, I think the when I have conversations with firm owners, if they're not a small firm, they tend to be removed from the pain in the butt that is the mail.
Yeah,
And so what I would do is if I was a firm owner, I would want to go talk to my admin staff, right? And say, hey guys, how much of a pain is mail really? How much time is it taking you to process Monday's mail, which tends to be the heaviest? And if their answers might just surprise you, and you might want to try processing a day's worth of mail yourself and doing what they do just to see how cumbersome it is, because it is a lot of work. It is incredibly tedious and incredibly important to make sure that every detail is hit on, right? The hearing date and time, that they put the right date, they didn't put the wrong year. Small minutia details like that. Clerq helps alleviate all of that. So if you're a firm owner watching, ask your admin what it takes to do the mail. Try doing a day's worth yourself, and then just check out clerqlegal.com and let's see how we can help you.
yeah. That kind of segues to our last question: is where should people go if they want to check out Clerq Legal and actually test the platform, use it, get in touch with you, whoever else is there?
Absolutely. So clerqlegal.com, clerk with a Q, CLERQ legal.com. You can book a demo straight from the website. That demo will be with me. We're a small team, right? Again, I'm sitting in my immigration law office right now. I had an immigration client before this interview, and I have an immigration client after. So I'm right in the thick of it with all of you practitioners. And if there's a way that we can help, we certainly will. and check it out, book a demo, and have your staff who handles the mail on the demo with you. And let's try to make things more efficient for everybody.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. For anyone watching or listening, however you're consuming, feel free to go check out Clerq Legal with the Q. It's been a great platform. Good doing that. Ghassan, happy to have you on here. And if you wanted to
Thanks,
make more
Ian.
tech implementations into your firm, feel free to check out Immigration Finder. Be happy to talk with you.
Thanks, Ian.